If you'd asked me how my life was going back then, I probably would have shrugged and said, "Not bad." It wasn't great, but it wasn't terrible either. I was married, had a steady job, and the kind of routine that makes you feel comfortable even if there was a nagging sense something was off. I mean, sure, Rachel had changed over the past several months. The late nights that she brushed off as work stuff, the sudden shift to expensive new perfume I never noticed before, and a distance that wasn't there before. I had suspicions, but nothing concrete. I told myself I was being paranoid. After all, love makes you hope for the best. Then came that night at the gala. I remember it like a bad dream replaying in slow motion. We were surrounded by people laughing, glasses clinking, the warm glow of chandeliers casting soft light over everyone. Suddenly, from out of nowhere, her boss, Greg, strolled up to me. He was wearing that grin like he'd just won the lottery, cocky and smug as hell. He clinked his glass against mine, leaned in with that irritating swagger, and said with all the audacity in the world, "Congratulations, Ben. You're going to be a father. I knocked up your wife." Froze. Not because I didn't hear him, but because my brain refused to accept the words as true. For a moment, I honestly thought I misheard him. I glanced at Rachel, hoping she'd laugh it off, tell me it was some sick joke. But no. Her expression wasn't amusement or remorse. It was that smug, cold smirk I'd started seeing too often lately. Then she said quietly, like it was no big deal, "Yeah. And you won't even divorce me because we have a no-fault dissolution of marriage." That was the moment the world tilted. Betrayal doesn't slap you in the face like a punch. Doesn't explode all at once. It's like a slow leak in your foundation, invisible at first, but steady enough to make the whole house tilt and creak. You only notice when the walls start to crack. I didn't say a word. I smiled, nodded once, and quietly stepped away. I walked out to the valet stand, not to leave, but to grab something from the glove box of my truck. When I came back inside, the music had shifted to a slow, jazzy tune. People were still sipping wine and chatting, oblivious to the storm that had just landed in their midst. Rachel was still by the bar, leaning on it, sipping her drink like she hadn't just dropped a bomb on our marriage. Then they saw me. The smile disappeared from her face. Her eyes locked on mine, and her hand flew to her mouth in panic. "Ben," she said, her voice cracking, "don't do this, please." What she didn't know, what she hadn't seen coming, was what I was holding in my hand. Yet she recognized the look in my eyes. The look of a man who had nothing left to lose, and a plan that would show no mercy. That was the moment I decided I wasn't going to be the guy who took betrayal with a forced smile. I wasn't going to be the nice guy anymore. I was done playing fair. A moment later, I unleashed what I like to call my thermonuclear vengeance. Let me be clear, no one survived. And no, I'm not a criminal. I'm just a man with a particular set of skills, a long memory, and, ironically, a subscription to Adobe Creative Cloud. You see, when you're underestimated for long enough, people stop watching their backs. I stood there in the middle of the ballroom, calm and collected, holding what everyone thought was a weapon. In a way it was a plain, thick envelope, the kind you see on TV marked important legal documents. I dropped it on the bar next to Rachel and slid it toward her. Then I said just one word. "Read." Rachel hesitated. Greg, still puffed up on testosterone and vodka, leaned over with a sneer. "What the hell is this, Ben?" I looked him dead in the eye. "Your resignation letter." He snorted. "You're not serious." Rachel unfolded the papers with trembling hands. Her eyes scanned the first page, and all the color drained from her face. Her mouth opened and closed like she was drowning in shock. "What is this?" she whispered. "Proof," I said. "Proof of the affair. Proof of the misuse of company resources. Proof of all the little games you two have been playing while I've been paying the bills and doing your laundry." Greg's face turned red, the kind of angry red you see on construction signs warning of danger. "How did you?" Cut him off. "You really shouldn't let your side piece keep a shared iCloud account with her husband. Rookie move." Few people gasped. Someone dropped a glass. The band stopped playing. Even the bartender paused, glass in hand. Yeah, I had receipts. Emails, texts, hotel receipts tucked in for good measure. Turns out the corporate card Rachel accidentally used for those out-of-town conferences was still under my name. I gave Rachel a look I hadn't worn in years. The look from before we got married, when I was grinding away, building my own real estate business from scratch. The version of me who didn't accept defeat or excuses or betrayal disguised as emotional growth. I already filed, I said. The dissolution paperwork, the financial disclosures, everything. Her hand shot out, desperate to stop me. Ben, wait. Cut her off. I'm not waiting anymore. Greg started looking genuinely worried, like a cornered animal. You're bluffing, he said. This is all just. I pulled out my phone and tapped the screen. Suddenly, on the ballroom's mounted projectors, a video started playing. I'd uploaded it remotely to the AV system. Took me 2 hours and a hefty bribe to the event tech guy, but it was worth every penny. The screen showed a montage. Text messages between Rachel and Greg, hotel check-ins, photos of Rachel in lingerie, Greg shirtless and grinning like a frat boy. All time-stamped, all damning. I stood in front of the screen as the video played behind me. Greg scrambled to shut it off. Too late. Consider this my resignation, I said quietly. From this marriage. From this charade. From ever being someone's doormat again. I left my wedding ring on the bar next to her cocktail. I didn't slam the door behind me. I didn't shout. I didn't throw a punch, which, given the circumstances, was impressive. I just walked out into the cold night, hands in my pockets, heart surprisingly steady. Rachel had tried to gut me in public. Instead, she handed me the keys to a plan I'd quietly been preparing for months. About 6 months before that gala, I'd noticed Rachel changing her phone lock code. No big deal at first. Then her laptop password changed. Still no alarms. But when she added a second bank account I didn't know about, my brain finally kicked into high gear. I started quietly collecting everything I could get my hands on. Emails, receipts, backups. I installed a tracker app on a tablet she forgot to log out of. I studied her every move, the subtle shift in her tone, the way her wardrobe changed from marketing professional to romantic thriller side character. Rachel always saw me as the steady, reliable one, the quiet guy who wore flannel, knew how to fix a garbage disposal, dependable and predictable. But she didn't see the man who built a business from scratch. The man who grew up watching his father leave before dawn with calloused hands and quiet dignity. She didn't see the man who pays attention. And when someone crosses me, I don't yell. I move. Plan. So by the time she and Greg had started their little soap opera behind my back, I had already mapped out the exits. The divorce filing was already done, pre-filed 2 weeks before the gala with a top-notch attorney specializing in asset protection and reputational damage. The prenup was ironclad. She hadn't read it carefully when we signed it. Most people don't. But I put a clause in there. Infidelity nullifies any spousal support. I don't like surprises. And the cherry on top. I owned the house. The title was always in my name. It was a flip I did when the market was hot. I just never got around to changing it. That afternoon Rachel called. I let it go to voicemail. Her voice was soft, half apologetic, loaded with faux vulnerability. The same voice she used when she wanted something. Ben, I know last night was a shock. We didn't mean for it to happen like that. Can we just talk? Greg called too, left a voicemail. This one wasn't soft. He was angry, saying I blindsided him. Imagine that. A guy who sleeps with another man's wife and brags about it feeling blindsided. That same day, I moved all our shared funds into an escrow account, pending court approval. I anonymously contacted her company's ethics department with the documentation. Greg was technically her supervisor. That's a policy violation where I come from. 2 days later, HR reached out to him for a formal review. The cracks started forming under their golden tower. The morning after their HR meetings, Rachel showed up at the house. She banged on the door like the SWAT team was inside. I opened it just enough to say, "You don't live here anymore." She stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Ben, please. No. And just like that I shut the door. So yeah, I'm the guy who took betrayal and turned it into a demolition job. I'm not proud of the bitterness or the coldness that followed. But sometimes when people try to burn your house down, you have to be ready to build a fortress from the ashes.